Long-term holders have stopped selling their bitcoins. Have we seen the first signs of a market reversal when it comes to cryptocurrencies? Unfortunately, short-term holders are selling at a loss. On-chain data showing an unfavorable situation in cryptocurrencies. Where are my buying zones for Bitcoin? To what levels can we fall? What levels am I waiting for to buy Bitcoin on the spot market again and to initiate my long swing positions in the futures market? Additionally, the most important market news, so without further ado, let's start the episode. So, my dear friends, let's start with the on-chain data. Total supply held by long-term holders. Long-term holders, listen, for the first time in 3 months, they have refrained from selling for this long. Everything indicates that it's too cheap for them to sell. Of course, it's no surprise, because really, everything above $100,000 makes sense for selling. So here, my dear friends, the situation is that long-term holders are probably holding off for a potential second leg of the bull market, or they are simply waiting for confirmations of a breakdown in the upward trend or a possible shift to a downward trend. And only then might we see an avalanche of sales from long-term holders, because they will already know that if we are in a bear market, if we are falling, they will start selling off, which could be an additional stimulus, an extra factor that pushes the price much, much lower. For now, we have nothing to worry about. However, we must keep in mind these long-term holders because they really do have a lot of Bitcoins. In fact, personally, the last batch of Bitcoin I hold, I am still holding for a potential rise to $116,000, $120,000. Even if we were to experience some deeper declines, it's fine. I will hold it for now with the possibility of buying more in the zones that I will show you today on the charts. And at this moment, short-term holders realize profit and loss ratio. And here, listen, short-term holders are realizing losses so significantly for the first time since October of last year. This means that these short-term holders, which you could say are the hardcore retail investors who bought Bitcoin at 100,000, 100,000 plus, where there were already talks of to the moon, right, all the time, and so on, have started selling off heavily at a loss, thinking that we might indeed be going lower and lower. Is that really the case? We'll take a look at this on the charts, however. These short-term holders always panic quite quickly and strongly. They don't think it through. The moment the price doesn't behave as they want it to, they sell off their positions at a loss without considering the current situation. In my opinion, those who bought around 100,000 will still be able to sell it off at break-even or even with an interesting profit. And now listen, sell-side risk ratio, and here on this sell-side risk ratio, the indicator has entered the zone of support, which is here, between the blue and purple line, simply a support area. On this indicator, you could say, the first signs of a reversal have appeared. The last time we were at this level, listen, was at $68,000 for Bitcoin. So here, as you can see, in this place, so you could say that we are actually in low liquidity on the chart, meaning in this area where the liquidity is lower. In fact, you can notice this from the recent performance of cryptocurrencies, mainly Bitcoin, where in reality the market is now one big stablecoin. So, in my opinion, at this moment we are in a quite decisive phase. A phase that will tell us whether we are indeed making a second leg and heading for much higher valuations on Bitcoin, or rather somewhere. I'm not saying a bear market is starting, but maybe we want to initiate a more substantial correction to absorb this liquidity and then continue building the growth trend, and precisely the latter. And now, capital rotation net position change. Money, my dear friends, is flowing out of ETH, so much that we are slowly approaching the outflows of August 2024, before Trump's victory. The situation with Ethereum is bad, and, in my opinion, even tragic, as can be seen from the chart not only of Ethereum but also of altcoins. In fact, and this cash flow, there is more and more capital rotation, listen, into stables, which means that people are realizing their positions because they are selling off Ethereum. They are selling off altcoins, so the holdings, you could say, of Tether, or simply maybe not Tether, but stable coins, are starting to grow. The inflow of cash into Bitcoin is also decreasing, which may signal that we are entering a longer consolidation. And as I say, it's not that we are starting a bear market, but this so-called crypto winter, meaning this consolidation could last for weeks, months, as it has happened before on the charts. For now, there's no need to get too excited or, so to speak, too scared. Because in reality, we have a period of calm, you could say a good place for swinging from one side to the other, as it is relatively safe. Bitcoin is moving quite strongly. So in reality, trading at this moment shouldn't be difficult. It should even carry less risk, although it's quite boring. The movements are quite slow and not much is happening on these charts. Moreover, if we look at ETFs, listen, for the first time since December, they are in the negative. Here, of course, we're talking about Bitcoin ETFs. So at this moment, Bitcoin ETFs are in the negative. Similarly, remember, if we have an outflow from ETFs, then funds will also be selling Bitcoin. If we have an inflow into ETFs, ETF funds will be buying because the fund's balance must be zero. And today, listen, my dear friends, Trump's speech and the minutes tomorrow. Unemployment isn't anything major. However, I would listen to Trump's speech. And of course, the unemployment claims, because the FOMC meeting minutes aren't as important, but the unemployment claims are. It will be worth watching, it will be worth listening to, even because of what might happen in the traditional market. And of course, as usual, the fear and greed index, which has reset, and we've returned to neutral. However, we'll see for how long, considering what's happening in this market, and besides, the last few months. This sentiment changes immediately when the price actually shows its direction. Instantly, the sentiment practically falls into extreme greed or extreme fear. And now, my dear viewers, let's move on to the most important element of this episode, which is the charts. Let's take a look at Yan's Bitcoin Phantom size, that is S, and see what's happening there. Where are those zones I mentioned regarding buying Bitcoin in case of a potential correction? Listen up. First of all, Bitcoin's dominance looks very interesting, continuously on the rise here, even though the chart doesn't really show us any good performance. Total 3, still in quite a tragic position, you could say, because we are still in a downtrend here. If we break through and start closing below 822 billion, precisely on total 3, this will indicate that alts that might make a second leg, but unfortunately, likely towards hell. Ethereum to Bitcoin is also in a very, very bad place. If money doesn't flow from Bitcoin to Ethereum, it also flows very poorly to altcoins. So here you need to consider what strategy you want to adopt with your investment portfolio, specifically regarding altcoins, and when you might want to sell them off. And here, listen, slowly, In my opinion, the scenario we talked about might come true because I thought we would at least get a pull to 102,000. However, for now, we have caught quite a significant downward pressure on Bitcoin, which is not bad, because we are not here to predict movements. Remember, charts or everything we discuss is not about predicting any movements. It's about preparing for what to do if the price reaches a main key point on the chart where we have a lot of confluences, which is precisely a confluence, a place where I will want to set up long swings on Bitcoin or purchases on the spot, but of course short, strictly for such a swing. Well, these are the areas here, 89 to 88,000. In my opinion, we need to hit this zone once more to even talk about any breakout to a new ATH, which in my opinion could happen between $115,000 and $118,000. So I think this is exactly the zone where I will sell the rest of my Bitcoin spot, which is my last 30%. I will be selling. As for a potential even lower abstract zone, but not so abstract that it couldn't happen, it's around here, $79,000. We'll see how the situation unfolds. We'll see if it moves in this way. We have a fairly reduced volume, less interest in the market for a simple reason. It was supposed to be big, but it's thin. Trump was supposed to do various strange, interesting things, but he's really doing nothing. The president of Argentina made a rug pull. It's unclear what's going on with Trump and Melania, so the whole situation in crypto is quite, I would say, uncertain, yet quite pleasant for trading downwards. It's nice to catch all these pumps for shorts here. Personally, at this moment, I'm waiting for my long orders to be filled in this lower zone, of course with stop losses. So continuing, my dear friends, the situation here is currently outlined as bearish, which is not a bad thing. You just need to prepare for it. The second thing I wanted to tell you about is Sonica, or S, which is actually the old, Phantom. I had a swing set up on the spot, you know this well, because I posted the information on Discord, my current play here around 41 cents, after observing how the chart behaves. We received a beautiful upward volume here, currently around 60 cents. My order on the spot order has been closed. And here I'm talking about my short-term purchase. Long-term. I am still holding Sonica, not selling it. I have it in my long-term bags, and I don't intend to sell it for now. Sell it? However, I say this swing has been closed here. We can start considering whether you are entering into, possibly again, if we actually have a continuation of the upward trend here, precisely around 51 cents with a potential liquidity pool to 50 cents. And my dear friends, ByBit, when it comes strictly to crypto, your Bitcoin, your altcoins, this is not, God forbid, about any scaremongering. It's about being prepared for the possibility that the market might start to decline somewhere. I'm not saying that it will happen because I believe we still have time for growth, that we should still break out calmly on Bitcoin, reach a new ATH, and that altcoins will still see several times growth. However, is this the moment now? I don't know. I think we are currently experiencing a moment of slight market correction. Besides, remember that the goal of the market, you could say colloquially, is to mentally exhaust you, to wear you out, so that you no longer have the strength to keep watching. In this market, continuing to engage with it, and that's when the market makes its impulsive moves. So the point is not to give up here. If you don't see a place to trade, simply don't trade. If you don't see a place to buy, simply don't buy. Prepare for possible scenarios. Have your main buying and selling zones noted down and don't change your plan. If the price reaches the point where you plan to buy, then buy. If the price was supposed to reach the point where you plan to sell, just sell and don't be greedy. And now, my dear friends, we move on to the most important market news. I apologize in advance, I might look a bit unwell, however. 39 degrees of fever takes its toll. Some flu, so to speak, caught up with me in Krakow. So today is better than yesterday, so I hope it can be watched somehow. Listen, we start with the first news, which is rack pool. And last week, probably the largest cryptocurrency rack pool in history took place, amounting to over $4 billion. It all started with a post. Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, who in his post on X promoted a project called Libra. If we analyze this post that is currently displayed on your screen, we can notice a few things that should make anyone's eye light up. Flag. It was written by the president, just like in the case of Trump. The language of this post, which is quite strange, and the website of this project, which in itself was one big inscription. Emergency like exit. We read on it that the goal of this project is to stimulate the Argentine economy by funding my projects, and a link to, attention, a Google form where the project was seeking funding from sponsors. A project wanting to sponsor other projects is asking for sponsorship. This had to succeed. Isn't it? After launching the project, listen, retail investors immediately started buying. Over 50,000 wallets became holders of Libra within the first 2 hours. Since its launch, it has made the project reach a capitalization of 4.4%. Insiders made a $1 billion rug pull, dropping the project to a capitalization of $130 million. Shortly after this event, the president of Argentina published a post in which he stated that he was not aware of the details of this project, but he has since familiarized himself with them, which is why he deleted that post. A comical situation, one must admit. He deleted it. People probably lost their life savings. I'm very sorry. I am sorry. We are moving on. Listen to the ride. Kanye West. Directly connected to the previous news is a post by Kanye West, the rapper who has recently been in the spotlight. Kanye recently published quite a lot of controversial content, which I don't want to bring up here. However, you should know that there has been a lot of buzz about the potential release of a coin by him. He himself never confirmed whether he would actually release it, but last week he published a post revealing that certain individuals proposed to him the idea of creating his own coin and scamming his community. According to the information contained in the messages, he was supposed to receive $2 million, which is next to nothing for him, for posting a promotional post about a fake Coinbase. He was to keep it on his feed for up to 8 hours, then delete it and claim that his account had been hacked. Additionally, it was mentioned that this coin would scam people out of tens of millions of dollars, which means it is an organized operation. The question is, listen, how many influencers actually agreed to such a business proposal? Deceiving their community, really, for a few pennies, because $2 million for someone like Kanye West is nothing. Whether it's in the Polish scene or here in Europe, paying someone tens to hundreds of thousands of zlotys to deceive their community is also just pennies, and unfortunately, many people do such things. And then the opinion of creators who actually want to act, or people who are in this space, well, it is what it is. The question also is, listen, how organized is the group that organizes such actions, because it could be the same one that has the contacts to influencers, access to these influencers. So then, what about coins like Trump's and Melania's, really? I doubt, of course, that they would be tempted by a few $1 million, because the money there is already much, much larger. So is there also a chance that the Rudies were involved, in a gigantic scam? because maybe the money was different there, or maybe there were entirely different situations. Maybe some files we don't know. But we will probably find out. And listen, Coinbase, on Thursday, the financial results for the fourth quarter were published. Indeed, these results exceeded expectations by 27% due to the hype surrounding cryptocurrencies during those months. Total revenues increased from $2 to $3 billion, whereas in the same period the previous year, it was only $953 million. And meanwhile, my dear friends, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If so, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, and hit the bell so you don't miss future episodes. And we'll see each other today on Discord. I think I'll show up in the afternoon. So thank you very much for watching the video and see you soon. And tomorrow, my dear friends, there will be a chart episode. Take care. See you later.